champion Gia Scott, and you're watching O Face Wrestling.
That's right. Oh, Face Wrestling. Listen to the podcast. Listen. They are Dark Side approved. Howden approves it. Oh, Face Wrestling. I'll be listening. Will you?
Come and listen to O Face Wrestling Podcast with your favorite Siren the Voodoo Doll, aka Nina Monet.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's those wrestling girls. It's your girl Krista B and Queen PR. And we are here to let you know to tune into Old Face Wrestling because they're one of the best podcasts out. And we follow them, so you should too. So subscribe, hit that button, and listen for the latest in wrestling news. Later.
Yo, you are here with the MCW Tag Team Champions, Rush Hour, and that makes Showtime! Dion Epps and Hot Boy Tommy Seto, and you're watching O Face Wrestling.
Cool.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on O Face Wrestling. This is your host JT, and today I am joined by one of my good Twitter friends, Bree.
Hi.
Bree.
You're welcome. Hey everybody, I'm here, Bree, with the crooked angle.
Crooked angle.
Right.
Today, me and Bree, we're going to be doing a Ember Moon showcase episode. We're going to talk about, a lot about Ember Moon, why we're fans of Ember, what we think about her run so far in WWE, and, kind of what we want to see with her in the future. So, Bree, I'm going to start with you. Why are you a big Ember Moon fan?
Oh man, can we count the ways? So, honestly, she's awesome. Let's just start with that and call it, what you will, say what you will about her. But I really think that one, she's awesome in the ring. Great, like mechanical, technical wise, I guess is the word for it. Beautiful moves and even beautiful finisher, like the Eclipse, like mess me up though. I think another part of her that's like makes her awesome, I guess, outside of the ring is that Ember kind of challenges some of the, those lingering stereotypes about Black women and women in general about, even when I was growing up, like being a fan of like D&D and tabletop games and like so on and so forth, like video games and such. It was things that people weren't into, but even more so, like being Black and a female and liking those things. At least back when I was younger, it was like unheard of. So it's interesting that she's there in that position that she's in now, liking the things that she likes, and like it's different, and it's still representation of people, I guess, like her, people like me who like those things, who like video games and tabletop games and so on and so forth. That interest is there, and it's like it makes her, relatable inside and outside of the ring. She definitely embodies that spirit of like, if I can be, then anyone can be, right? She's relatable. She was someone who struggled with bullying in her childhood. She was someone that was known as being, that kid, that weird girl. And again, I know that there are people out there who can sympathize with that, or who at least can empathize with that if they weren't that person. In that part, she was able to project that, and she can speak her mind now. Like, I think one of the things of being bullied is that one thing that you want to do is you make up in your mind, what can I say to that bully if I really was in a good position of power? And I think, she's in a position to do that. And that looks very empowering, that like she feels like she has that strength to be like, I can take this to the ring and this is how I get back. I really love that. She's a hard worker. And I think that everyone can attest to her being a hard worker. You go on Twitter right now and you look up Ember Moon and you will see countless tweets of people like telling, like, hard worker, like she deserves more in the ring. And no one can take that away from her. She's proved in the ring that she's a hard worker. She can do what anyone else can do. And we can get into her career later, but like she was 2017 NXT champion. and outside of WWE, won like numerous different championships. She fought Baszler. She fought many people who like weren't in WWE at the time, who now, you know, are in WWE and are like up there, you know, like her, like if it was anyone else that like won NXT Women's Championship who got to fight Shayna Baszler, it's like it was her, and she still is not like, I guess, where I think she should be in the company. She's not someone to be messed with. You know, you fight Shayna Baszler, you fight Bayley. I mean, these are not people that are soft hitters, at least in my opinion. I've seen them, and she's gone up against these people and won against them. There's a fire behind that fiery hair is basically what I'm trying to say. What's that, like my third point? Fourth point. I don't really want to make this about looks. I know that, like, but you just address the elephant in the room and just go ahead and do it. I want to note that it's really nice to see a different type of fit on TV. And what I mean by that is, like, women in wrestling as a whole, regardless of the company you choose it, still have to deal maybe a tad more with like that element of how attractive they are, right? You can be the best in the ring, you can be the best on the mic, you know, you can never step a toe out of line, and there will be folks that will admire you for like having huge boobs or take a stab at you for how much weight you've gained. And that comes first or along the side of, you know, your ability in the ring and on the mic or whatever. And it's unfortunate. And Ember displays that you can be fit, flexible, and beautiful, powerful in the ring. You can do that at like 120 pounds, 130 pounds, 140 pounds over. Like, you can do that alongside Mandy Rose. You can do that alongside Sasha Banks. And that's something I do give credit to WWE for, is that, you know, they say what you want about them, but there are a variety of bodies now. It took us a while to get there, but it's still good that they have that, and Ember is a part of that variety. She's not afraid to speak her mind. Noting that her comments about she did that interview with Booker T, and I'm sure, you know, at this point a lot of people have seen it. She was making a lot of good comments and discussions about the inconsistent booking, unhappiness with the writing, her stance on Evolution, that pay-per-view, and, you know, what I do is real, but yet it's predetermined, and, you know, how you see people get rotated through the roster and on live TV, and you're in catering for what, months on end. I think she said like 2 years or something like that. She's able to express that, and there's not this like weird thing that I see in like WWE stars that are like, you know, it's been a hard road, but, or, you know, I'm signed with the best in the world, and, you know, thank you Vince, have hashtag. Like, now and again you see that, and it's like, okay, you're supposed to say this, but like with Ember, it's like there's that authenticity that is like, I'm actually really frustrated. I don't know if some days I want to do this. And it's that human element that I like, that's like, you're the best in your career and you're still frustrated, and it seems real. Your frustrations look real. That's what draws me to her. Like, all those things draw me to her, and I think those are all positive things that she embodies, and a couple of those things only she does in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you on that, because, like, in my opinion, and that maybe I'm a little biased because she's my favorite wrestler, I think she's the most talented, you know, female wrestler in the whole company. Just when you look at her athleticism, her striking ability, her technical ability, you know, her charisma, like, she has everything that you would want from a wrestler from an in-ring standpoint. I think she's good looking. Like, I'm not gonna lie, she's fit, she's pretty, you know,
Yeah.
she's got a really nice smile. Like, and it really bugs me because I feel like, and I know you mentioned that WWE has come a long way with, the variety of women that they have in the company, but it still seems like they still low key favor, like the blondes. Like, look at the push Lacey Evans has been getting for
Absolutely.
almost a year now. Like, she didn't do anything in NXT, to be honest. Nothing against her. I think she portrays her character well. She's not bad in the ring, but she didn't prove herself. She didn't do the grind and do anything really in NXT other than random matches. She came to the main roster, strutted up and down the ring for like a month, and then she's feuding with the hottest female in all of wrestling. And it's like, where was Ember at that time? Ember was on the bench for several months up until her feud with Bayley. And it's kind of like, why aren't they doing anything with Ember? Like, the fans like her. Like, she's over. I had friends that were at the Evolution event live, and when it came down to her and Nia Jax, fans were chanting and stomping for Ember. Like, we want Ember to be champion. Like, we want something new. And we saw that with Becky. Like, Becky was the underdog for years and years and was constantly, like, in random matches, getting jobbed out. And then we saw, like, when WWE finally invested in her, look what happened. She's the most hottest and marketed female in all of wrestling. That could be Ember. And I don't blame her for being frustrated, because when you're one of the best, if not best, at what you do, and you're not, getting booked properly, you're going to be mad. It's just like if you have a job, you could be an employee at Target and you could be the best, employee there, but they could be given the promotions and the recognition to other, employees based off of, maybe them being better looking. Of course, you're going to be frustrated,
Right.
So it's just like, I get it with her. And it bugs me as a fan because, I've been, kind of waiting for WWE to really properly do something with Ember because when she first signed with NXT, she literally did nothing but dark matches and live events for a year. I had to wait so long for her to debut. And when she debuted, she was, on NXT here and there on random matches. They took her like almost a year to put her in like a title feud.
Right.
So it's always been like a really long wait for her, and it's just kind of like, what's WWE doing? And now that she's had this injury that she has right now, we don't know when she's coming back. We don't know if this will affect her push in the future because we know how WWE is with wrestlers that get injured a lot. They get very hesitant in pushing them. We saw that with the Revival for a while. They were very hesitant on pushing them. That's rumored. I mean, it's just a rumor, but Sasha Banks, she tends to get hurt a lot, and we've heard plenty of rumors that could be the reason she doesn't get a proper title run. I mean, like I said, it's just a rumor and all, but it's just one of those just really big frustrations. We all have our favorite wrestlers, and we all want to see them get booked. And when we see such a talented wrestler like Ember, just not get booked, it's extremely frustrating.
Right.
But
Right.
as for me, like with me being a Ember Moon fan, I heard about her before she signed with WWE, like a few months before.
Mhm.
I'm on social media all the time, and I heard about this wrestler named Athena, and she went by the Wrestling Goddess. I thought that was like really cool because I like that kind of geeky kind of stuff. I was like, oh, Athena, the Wrestling Goddess, let me check her out. So I looked her up on YouTube, and I was just like, wow, like I love her look. She was so talented. Like I saw her match with Mia Yim. I was like, wow, this chick's really good. After that, didn't really like look her up again because it's independence. I wasn't really that big on the independent circuit at the time, and it's not like you could watch it live on TV. So when I heard that she signed with NXT, I got super excited. And like I told you, like I was just waiting for a year for her to debut, and just in my time of being a fan, I love her in-ring skills. She is just so exciting in the ring, regardless of who she's against. Her like the Eclipse is the absolute like coolest move ever, in my opinion.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah, like it looks so dangerous, and hopefully she doesn't have any like back problems from landing like she does in the future. But I think she's just so amazing in the ring. But I like the character too. I've always liked the whole kind of like goddess kind of character, the hood and all. I think that's really dope looking. But other really major reason why I like her, and I know you mentioned this, earlier, I relate to her personally. You mentioned that she was bullied growing up. So was I, and I personally know how that can really like affect you long term and hold you back. Like, it held me back for a few years. Like I was, so traumatized. I didn't go to college right after school. I didn't get my first job till I was 18. I was just like afraid to kind of go out there and socialize because of what happened to me. And it's like I see what happened to her, and she overcame that and really pushed herself. And even like her struggle to get to WWE was just crazy. Like she was so talented, but she was denied, not because she wasn't talented enough, because she didn't have the diva look. And that was back during the diva era. And that's part of the reason. I don't want to say I look down on that era, but it just really upsets me that like opportunities were given to women based off of looks rather than talent. And Ember Moon never gave up though. She kept trying and trying, and eventually got hired. So that really like personally like kind of helped me out, made me say, hey, like I can keep trying and I can do this, and I did. So I kind of used her as like a role model, even though me and her are the same age. I looked at what she did and I set the example for myself. And also like she's a big geek. She likes Game of Thrones, she likes video games. I do too. So it's like we have a lot in common personally, so that helps like me just relate to the wrestlers more. And any wrestler that has something in common, it's always like cool seeing that happened. She just likes so much of the same stuff that I like, and it's just like it's kind of like, wow, like we could be best friends kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like some wrestlers, they don't really have much in common with you. Like I highly doubt I had much in common with like a Randy Orton or something like that, but it's nice seeing a wrestler that you have so much in common with.
Right. And that adds to that. That adds to that feeling of, you can be my best friend. And that really, kind of, that's kind of what draws fans, is like, how relatable are you? How can I see myself in you? And, you really hit the nail on the head. I mean, I don't have a lot in common with someone like Mandy or Charlotte or even Becky. Like I love them, I like seeing them, but it's they don't have that, for me, a fan aspect of like, could we have those same conversations that I would have with a best friend who was into these kind of things. But it's like, it feels like someone like Ember would be able to kind of relate to me on, I understand what it's like to have bullies, I understand what it's like to love this game and hate this game and play D&D, and did we like Game of Thrones? And I'm sure like you can have those conversations with other people, but it's you would get it. And it helps that that people then are like, I relate to you, so you now have a fan, and you now have someone in your corner rooting for you. And that makes people a little more success. Can't really think of the word for it, but they're more inclined to see you in the ring. What do you have to offer? And it's great when you're as good as Ember, because now you have more to back up why you're a fan. They're good in the ring, and they're also relatable. So yeah, definitely agree with you on all of those points.
Yeah, exactly, because like it definitely helps add to that interest. Like I've never really been the biggest like Drew McIntyre fan, but when I met him at a meet and greet 2 weeks ago, he had a Resident Evil shirt. So I remember thinking, I love Resident Evil. That's one of my favorite gaming franchises. When I met him, it gave me actually something to talk to him about. I was like, hey buddy, I like your shirt. And he's like, no, why, thank you. And so like it's cool like having something to talk about other than wrestling, because I'm sure they get the same questions all the time. Who was your favorite opponent?
Absolutely.
What was your favorite match? All this kind of stuff. So it gives you that extra like talking piece too, if you ever meet them, or you could tweet about them. Like back when Ember Moon first signed with WWE, I tweeted about video games, and she tweeted back, and like we talked about Fable very briefly. Like it was like really cool being able to talk to them about something that you both have in common versus just the basic wrestling question. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of awesome that she responded to you. I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah, well, you do got to keep in mind that was right when she signed with WWE, so she didn't have like all the followers at the time. Because like I used to chat with Dakota Kai on Twitch when she used to stream video games like 3 years ago.
Nice.
But now it's very rare that you're going to get that kind of response. Now that she's a lot more popular, and it's not people like got to understand like now that they're more popular, they get more, their notifications get blown up a lot, so it's harder for them to even see your stuff versus when they're on the indie circuit and all that.
True, and I think maybe sometimes when they're on the indie circuit, they may have more time to stream or respond to you. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's still cool that you got that though. I mean, because there's not a lot of people that can say that Ember Moon respond to their tweets.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good feeling. I wrote an article about her, like a month or two ago, and I posted it and she retweeted it, so that was really cool. And I don't know if you saw, but I did get a retweet and a reply back from Zelina Vega last night. So that really it was something nice to wake up to.
What did you tweet? I don't think I saw it.
She posted like a picture of herself and she had like a red dress on, and I made a comment like, "Oh, that red dress, you would look good as like the Raw GM." Since Raw is its color is red, and she commented back, she's like, "Raw GM, that would be interesting." So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
She seems to be she's a heel on TV, but she seems to be very engaging with the fans. So
and I always hear I always hear that she's like super nice in person.
Oh yeah, so, I listened to her podcast with Lillian Garcia, a while back, and she just seems like the nicest person in the world. And what's funny, like she was born in Jersey, so she's not even like from.
Yes, I heard that. I heard that she's a Jersey girl.
Yeah, so
it's like
her primary language is English. She actually had to learn Spanish from Andrade, which is kind of funny.
It is kind of funny because I think Then Together was like that whole, this whole Hispanic Latin spice piece kind of coming together for them, and I thought that they both spoke Spanish, but that's interesting that he taught her.
Yeah, and she had been teaching him English, so it was kind of like them both helping each other out.
Right. So I know we were going to talk about back to Ember.
Yeah, back to Ember.
We're going to talk about her struggle to get to WWE, which I think that we could get, we can attribute to a few things, right? I guess, first of all, let's just start out with the fact that this has been like a 14 plus year journey for her. Put that in perspective. I'm 26, so I was about 12 or 13 when she started, if the math is correct on that one. But like when she mentioned that this was like 14 years going in that interview, I was like, Jesus. You mean to tell me that you started 14 years ago and you are kind of when did she come to quote unquote main roster back when like Raw and SmackDown?
2018.
Right.
Yeah. 14
years. All right. And her end goal is always WWE, and WWE is the behemoth, so I get it. Like you want to sign with the biggest company. Person that's going to put you on the map, and not everyone gets to the behemoth on the first try. She was in a few promotions, like I mentioned before. She was in Professional Championship Wrestling, Anarchy. I think she was in Shimmer for a while, and Shimmer I think partners with Paige's mom, so that's all connected here. She was Athena. I think she started out as Athena. She moved and she was Trouble in a few circuits. I don't think she used the character Trouble in WWE, but that was something that she did in the Indies. And I'm thinking to myself, that's 14 years. You guys sit here and stick it out, keep fighting, keep doing this indie show, keep traveling, keep fighting. And it's like 14 years. I know certain people would just be like, this tea ain't for me, dude. I'm not doing this for 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's either like, give me 3 years, give me 5 years. And it just speaks to her perseverance that that's 14 years of hard work and you're in the biggest company for wrestling right now. She moved into NXT in 2015. She didn't move into quote unquote main roster because that's no longer like a thing until 2018. So she was in development for 3 years. I was under the assumption that developmental was 2 years. So you start off in WWE, you're in there for 2 years, and I think you get called up. I think that was the process, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can mention to me if I'm wrong and I'm an idiot. I know, but I believe that was what it was. And you're in developmental for 3 years, and maybe the year that you're talking about when she was like just doing the dark matches may have been like one of her first years, and then the 2 years after that were like when she like 2016 2017. So obviously that was the year that she won the NXT championship. I what do you think? Like, why would they leave her in development for that long when she has a resume? She's like, look, I have a bunch of experience which will make me like useful in this company. I can work hard. I can prove to you that I've done the hard. Here's 14 years of proving to you that I am suitable and I am trustworthy and I'm here to do the work. Like, why 3 years? Because we know there are NXT people that come up months in a year, maybe. Like, why Ember? Why her in 3 years?
Well, honestly, in my opinion, I think it's always been timing. Like, it's just been bad timing for even still to this day. Like, when she first came up, obviously at the end of the day, and it sucks, but women's wrestling just doesn't get as much time as the men. In NXT, you'll get 1, maybe 2 matches, so they can only feature and showcase so many, women, especially in NXT at the time because it was only hour episodes. When she first signed with the company, that's when, the whole, I believe that's when Sasha and all were still down there. I think she may have signed like shortly after, as they were transitioning to the main roster, but that was when Bayley was champion. That's when they brought in Asuka, they brought in Dana Brooke, and I think it was one of those, hey, we like Ember, we want to do something with her, but we don't want her to get lost in the shuffle.
Sure.
So that's why they kept her, in the dark matches and live events. When she finally came up to the main, or to the actual televised on NXT, that's when Bayley was gone, and it was basically just Asuka, honestly, at the time.
Yeah.
So I think the whole idea was they probably wanted Ember to be her last opponent before making her or having her go to the main roster. So I think that's kind of why Ember was just kind of floating around, not really doing much. And then they told that story. I think personally Ember should have ended Asuka's streak, but it is what it is. So when Asuka finally, went up to the main roster, that's when Ember finally got that title. But once again, it was bad timing because then Shayna Baszler was there. And clearly, they love Shayna Baszler considering the kind of push they got. And I think her being related, her relation to, Ronda Rousey, I think that kind of encouraged them to. I mean, Shayna's great, I will say that, but I think they were just more interested in pushing Shayna because of the UFC and, the friendship with Ronda and all that. So I think Ember just ended up being a transitional champion, and which sucks. But I just think that, as much as they like her, she's never been the full focus of the division based off of just there being other women on the current roster that they like more. And I feel like that still haunts her, when she came to the main roster, because when she came to main, she was on Raw, and guess who else was on Raw? Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks, all of them. So she kind of was just like floating around. She had the alliance with, you know, Sasha and Ronda at the live events and all that, but then she got hurt. And then when she came back, you know, they didn't really do much with her. And then when they put her in a feud with Bailey and all that, then guess what? She gets hurt again. So it's kind of bad timing for the most part. But I do think that those gaps where she was actually healthy and in there, they could have done more with her.
Yeah. That's the consensus. I think that also, you know, when it comes to being injured, I think it was either Nikki or Brie that said it. It was like a really old episode of Total Divas, and I think one of them was hurt at the time. I think it was, I want to say it was Brie. She had mentioned that, you know, the more time that you're injured is time that you're away from the company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also time that you are, you know, forgotten by fans, because, you know, we know fans are, you know, they're here one day and they're gone the next, and they're, you know, companies are always looking for that person that's like, I want to see what that person's doing. I want to see what that person's doing next week, 2 weeks, months from now. It's that fear of missing out, that FOMO thing, that transcends into, you know, wrestlers as well. People don't want to miss out on that. But if you are gone, you're not missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look for the next person. Her being injured, I don't feel like did a lot for her. We can all agree on that. But that again, that shouldn't be a reason why people are forgotten about. I don't know if there's really much that the company can do about that. But it is what it is. You know, you're right. She didn't really do much when she was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say another piece of this is that I can't really give you a good match off the top of my head that's like, this was her wow match. This was the Bailey at WrestleMania. This was the Kofi at WrestleMania. This was even just like the Becky versus Sasha at Hell in a Cell. I mean, she really didn't have that match that was like, she won. Wow. I mean, her winning the NXT championship, I think it was really the closest thing, because even when she lost, it's really important, I think, for me and for a lot of wrestling fans, that even if you lose, the person that you lose to, the match still should make you look like gold.
Mm-hmm.
You should still look like, you know, that you sold that match. I can't give you a time that I think that WWE gave her that match, even if she was to lose, because she went on a losing streak after SummerSlam, where she well, with Bayley, she went on an absolute losing streak. She did not win anything. I don't think she won anything up until she got injured. And if she did, I'm sure you can remind me, but that's just how, like, okay, you're gonna fight this person, you're gonna lose. What else is new? There was never that, like, this person made them look good. Even if she lost, they didn't give her that match to really sit behind her in her repertoire at WWE. I think that also doesn't help you when you are mid-card and you also are just kind of given matches that no one asked for or no one really speculates. What another piece of that is that, like, the speculation part. Like, we want to know who's going to fight who. Rumors are a big thing. That's why the dirt sheets are such a thing in the wrestling world, because we want to know what's the rumor about who's going to fight who or who's going to take a shot at who. The closest thing she ever came to at that point was like the Mandy thing, where she was being bullied by her for not being healthy. And, you know, it's wild to me. That's still a storyline in this company of, like, if you're a woman fighting at WWE right now, you're fighting over a man, or you're fighting because someone called you ugly or you look better than this person. And it's evolution to something like this. Give Ember that doesn't help her. And you know, there's just a lot of these things coming together that are not making a good concoction for her career up until now. That I 100% believe that added to her struggle trying to be something in this company other than, that girl who is, the war goddess, but she loses. Like, I have no words for it. It's really weird to see this. It's really frustrating. And I know it must be frustrating to you because, that's your favorite wrestler. When you're excited to see her at like those higher traffic pay-per-views like Money in the Bank. She loses that twice. She goes up against Bailey at SummerSlam, unsuccessful. It's really disheartening because you want to stand behind this person, and WWE is just like, you don't know what to do. We have a huge roster. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's like one of their biggest issues. Their roster is so huge, and it's too huge. Even like at first, like when they did the whole brand split thing, it really benefited and really let a lot of wrestlers shine, especially the women. Like that's when we saw like Alexa Bliss, become a big star. That's when Becky Lynch, she was the first SmackDown Women's Champion. She became a star for a little bit. It really allowed people to shine, but then they just kept on signing people and bringing them up to main. And then, before when NXT got popular, when they started bringing these, wrestlers up to main, they got big pushes. Like I remember Kevin Owens, he beat John Cena in his first match on the main roster. Like he was a big deal. The Shield came up and they made a big impact. And then it just got to the point where they're bringing up these people, including Ember, and they have nothing for them. And it's just to the point where they're just bringing them up just to get that pop and, maybe to spike the ratings for a little bit. Yeah. And then that's it.
They want the ratings and they want those views on YouTube because that's their, it's views. It's who can get the pop, who can come back. I mean, you have a monumental roster and you're bringing people back like John Morrison and like you're kind of pushing these people that haven't been on TV in a while, and it's like you're not doing it for the benefit of like what these people want to do. And I think and it's hard because I don't know if you can really blame all of it on the company. You can blame them for having that huge roster, but like people get lost in the mix. And then it's like people like Ember are the people that are gonna get lost because there may be a demand for Sasha and Mandy and Lacey and Charlotte, and people want to see that. But it's like, then you're stuck with people just sitting and catering for a couple months, like just kind of twiddling their thumbs, not doing anything. And people want to know, like, where are they? What are they doing? And, we'll just have you chase the 24/7 championship. We'll just have you, like, come up with this really weird gimmick that doesn't match you or anything, and they've been hiding behind this excuse that, like, I remember someone tweeted at me or tweeted at some point about Ember and how in their speculation about why she's not pushed or why she wasn't pushed at that time was because her gimmick didn't fit into their long-term plans. And I'm just like, I can't give WWE the benefit of believing that anymore because clearly you guys are not doing long-term booking. Like, you can say, wait, see what they're going to do. Like, they need time. Like, we've been giving them time. They know what to do to rotate through the roster, and they don't make long-term plans past their nose. Like, you can put Ember in, you just don't want to. And it's like, just say that, or just, like, do more to throw her into put her in a storyline or because what seems like that their best ideas come from the spontaneity. Like, I don't think they were really focused on Kofi winning that WrestleMania angle, but that worked and people loved it. It's like anytime they really try for anything, we're just like, what the fuck? Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that they can put Ember where she wants to be. They will hide behind the idea that it's not part of their long-term plans. But that's a show she'll have to deal with, because I think she's coming to terms with like knowing that's kind of bullshit, and that they can do something with me, but they're just not doing it. And she's aired out that frustration publicly.
Yeah. And it was like, once again, like, I don't blame her, and but like you mentioned, like, with a lot of the wrestlers not getting used, it's about like demand, like how much in demand is she? Like, I don't know, but obviously we know like Becky and Sasha and Charlotte and all them are in demand. So I think WWE kind of they change their plans so much based off of stuff like that. And I think a big issue is also like Vince backstage, because I've heard from not fans but wrestlers, like former wrestlers in the company, they mention how like Vince changes things all the time, and writers will have these ideas of storylines and he rips it up and rewrites it the day of the show. And I think that's screwing everything up, because he's not letting the writers do their job. People, bash the writers and the creative team, and it's Vince that at the end of the day has this final say. How much does he like Ember? Like, we know Triple H and Stephanie love Ember. We know that, but what about Vince? Like, and I think that's part of the issue. Like, he's old school. He likes his blondes. He likes, the Lacey and the Charlotte. And I mean, like, Charlotte, I think she's great, honestly. I think she's great. And so I don't want to say, because she's, blonde, that's why she's, getting this push or anything like that. But I'm just like saying, like, she is a flair. She's blonde. That's probably why that could be why she's getting the push. I don't know. But like, yeah, like it's just really hard to say, like, with Ember, like, maybe they don't, I know a lot of things are based off of marketing as well. Yeah. WWE likes to book people they can market. And maybe they feel like they can't market her or whatever, because, going back to what we said before, like when they didn't hire because she didn't have the diva look, WWE, they still low-key like to book the women who are, they feel that are good looking.
It's marketable.
Yeah,
it's a marketable look. That like, and we can address the elephant in the room with that one. Like, I don't know if you saw it. I'm sure you did. A wrestler threw out a tweet in the beginning of the year. I want to say it was like either this week or last. Obviously, it had to be this year or last, because it's 2020. God, what is happening with time right now? Oh, okay. So either way, I'm old. She threw out a tweet at the beginning of the year explaining how some folks in the industry told her that basically wrestling is for white people. And, the marketing is geared towards white people, and, people can't get behind a black wrestler. Or, they wanted to say that, as a black wrestler, she had like the look of a video vixen or something. And I think a few people tweeted it was in circulation for a while. Did you ever see it?
No. When did this happen?
I want to say it was like the beginning of this week.
I did see actually something on my friend's podcast page. They mentioned something about like wrestling being for white people or something like that. They were pretty frustrated about it.
Right, and I guess the reason I bring it up is because you brought up the whole marketing thing. So now I'm, the gears are turning in my head, and I'm thinking, okay, what is marketable to the people that are watching WWE? Like people in America, the people in the UK, people in Saudi Arabia. But the point that stuck out to me, I think, was like, people cannot. I think she mentioned that people couldn't get behind a black wrestler or a female black wrestler. And I want to argue that because it's a very interesting point. There was a part of me that felt like WWE, in a way, confirmed this, because back when like they were pushing Kofi for WrestleMania and that kind of took off, Vince came out one night and he was like, no one would get behind someone like you, or something along like that. We're going to hand you the title because you think you deserve it. It's interesting to me that, like, to hear that in the storyline, it speaks volumes to the reality that's, some of these people are facing, the reality of like, will people get behind a black wrestler? Was that something that Vince considers marketable? Like, if you're not like the diva look, if you're not like, you know, you don't have the tiniest waist in the world, if you don't have the tiniest thighs in the world, like, can we put you on a billboard and put WWE next to you, and that look good for the tickets, for the merch, you know? And you know, on top of this, you also have people that were like, when Evolution came out, oh my god, the tweets of like people that were like, you know, certain fans in the community were like bashing Evolution because women can't carry a pay-per-view. No one wants to see an all-female pay-per-view, and look how that turned out. Look how Evolution turned out, where people were like, are we gonna have an Evolution 2? And then they like retired it, because I think you go on the network and it's like it's the retired pay-per-view or something like that.
I saw that.
And I'm just like, I think people are really outdated about what's marketable right now, because you could put Ember on a billboard and put your name next to it, and it will not be the end of the world. For your tickets for WrestleMania, I don't personally think so. Will it for some people? Sure, but like the minority. I think one thing about the wrestling community for a whole is that I really don't see a lot of real, genuine, widespread hatred for people that are Black who are not in like the ideal body type. It's like most people are just like, are you good in the ring? And if you are, there is going to be a subset of people that are going to be in your corner, regardless of what you look like. There have been some fugly people in WWE. People have gotten behind them because they're good, and they've marketed them. So how isolating must it feel to be like a little girl growing up Black, like Ember, wanting to be a wrestler like Ember, and having people tell you that you're doomed from the start because you happen to be born Black and a woman. No one will stand behind you in your profession. Like, I don't care what poster they put you on. I can empathize with Ember. I know she, you know, you can feel that sting of like hearing Jerry Lawler and Corey Graves on commentary, you know, calling these women that look nothing like you goddesses and God's greatest creation, getting pushed on TV in every other storyline every other week, while you're in catering kind of twiddling your thumbs for months. And they're like, here, go chase this 24/7 title, and now you're injured. And you have to just explain to people, like, I'm sorry, I can't come back. I was too busy chasing the title, and I, like, tore my Achilles. And, you know, this is my fate. Whereas, like, maybe none of this would have happened had WWE put in the time with her and been like, here's what we can do to help you get ahead. You don't have to chase the 24/7 title. You're better than that. And not necessarily saying that the people who are chasing that title aren't good, but it's like, that's not what she wants to do, and WWE knows it, and she knows it. I don't know. It's you know, I think that a lot of the struggles that she's dealing with are really non-issues that are being blown up into like reasons why they can't do anything with her, and she's in the position that she's in. Yeah, basically my point.
Exactly. Like, I mean, we really don't know why, you know, WWE, like, what they don't see in her, what they do and they don't, why they haven't really pushed her. I don't, like, there, like you mentioned, there are people who will say, oh, it's because of, you know, her color or anything, you know, anything like that. But like you said, there's like no hatred to any wrestler at all based off of color. Like, you don't see that on social media. I mean, maybe here and there, but like, if, like you said, they're good, people get behind them. Like, look at, like, Kofi. Like, look how many people got behind him during, you know, that WrestleMania push, even during his reign. Like, and then the New Day, that is the most successful tag team in the last decade, maybe ever, like, in WWE. And, you know, WWE markets the crap out of them. Like, they're on the posters and billboards and merchandise and all that kind of stuff. So, like, with Ember, it's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe they don't feel that she's strong on the mic. Maybe they don't find her attractive. I don't know. I do, like, I really want to see them really, like, it doesn't even have to be with Ember. Obviously, I prefer it to be Ember because she's my favorite. But I do really want them to really like put that title on, you know, a female wrestler of color and really go with it and have a really good, strong run. Because, I mean, we've seen it before. Ember, she was NXT Women's Champion, but not that long. Same thing with Naomi. She held that SmackDown title twice. Not long. Sasha, she's had that title a few times and couldn't even defend it once, you know. So I do think that they really need to, you know, go with it and do it because, like, that is what is in demand. Like you said, like, it's all about demand. Fans on social media, this is what they want. And like, you know, I said, they did it with Kofi and look, you know, everyone was happy. Like, you know, it got so many positive reviews and all. Like, it was a great moment in wrestling.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's just kind of what happens when, like, you loosen the reins a little bit. You just kind of are like, you know what? Things happen organically. Here's a basis of a storyline. Put some wrestlers in it. And I know WWE has to be scripted, so I mean, like, give them a script. But like, maybe they have an issue with like the micromanaging of like, oh, this person won't fit here, and it's like, how do you know until you try it?
Mm-hmm.
You know
Exactly, because when they do try new things, you know, it's a lot of times it works when they push the wrestlers. Because we're not in that day and age anymore where it's about the big, good-looking guys like you know how back in the day it was, you know, The Rock or Triple H. Hulk Hogan. Like, we are in the era where people just want good wrestlers. They don't care if you're short. They don't care if you're not as muscular or if you're blonde or good looking or, you know, the size of your features and all that kind of stuff. We just want good wrestlers. We want to see a good show. And kind of also going back to what you said with like Ember, like about her never really having that moment in that match. WWE hasn't really given her the opportunity other than I feel like the one time they really strongly like featured her in a match was against Asuka at TakeOver Brooklyn. That match was so good.
Oh man.
That had me on my freaking toes jumping up and down. Like the end of that match it gave me that heart attack. Like it was so good. And it's like you do that with Ember. Put her like they're putting her in a match with Mandy. No offense, but Mandy isn't at that level in her career. Put Ember in a match with someone who can, you know, really stand with her, like an Asuka, Kyrie, Becky, someone. Like, she has not gotten that opportunity. Even like Bayley, like Bayley's at her level, but they didn't really give that match a lot of time at SummerSlam.
Right. Well, you know, they don't really put much into Bayley, but honestly, that's a whole different discussion altogether.
Exactly.
Oh, I just want to say, like, I just like ripped my eyelashes off.
Oh no, that's not good.
Wow. I was just like, if these are not working, like, because I know someone's gonna see this video and be like, "What? Why the hell did that girl just like rip off her eyelashes?"
I didn't even realize that. So maybe no one. Well, now that you mentioned it, they probably won't notice. But
okay, well, don't notice now. I guess I'll be known as freaking eyelash lady. What do you think? You know, I know that she mentioned her, you know, her career so far. I guess we could talk kind of on that. Like, she had mentioned in the interview that WWE may have lost their ability to tell a story in the mid-card. Do you think that's accurate? And like, okay, so like, I guess it's a two-part question, because one, what do you think about that? But two, it's like, she's in mid-card. What kind of storyline would you put her in?
Well, I mean, WWE does do the mid-card stories that are usually like a hit or miss. Like even like the 24/7 title. Like at one point, that was actually a pretty good story when they were doing the thing with Drake Maverick and R-Truth. That was fun, but lately it's been boring. Like with Ember, when she had her mid-card, you know, storyline with Mandy, it was okay. Honestly, I was just happy that she was even on TV and doing something at that point. But with Ember, it's kind of, I mean, they could definitely do something mid-card wise for her, like maybe a match versus like a Sonya Deville. Or I mean, they kind of did with Mandy too, but actually like a one-on-one feud. Because I like with like Asuka, like I would love to see them feud on the main roster again, but I would want it to be for the title versus it being just a mid-card feud. That feud's too good for mid-card. Same thing. Like there's
Right.
tons of feuds that I would love to see them, but they're all more main, higher level things. I would love, honestly, more so. Like I do fantasy booking. I don't like post about it or talk about it on social media, but I had the idea of Ember Moon like kind of getting really hot around Survivor Series. I wanted to see her whole team get eliminated and it just be her versus the whole entire other team, and she just kind of takes them down, kind of like Dolph Ziggler did a few years ago. I think that was in 2014.
Where what was that? Was that a Rumble? That wasn't Rumble. That was
That was Survivor.
Series.
Yeah, that was when Sting made his debut. It was literally Ziggler versus like Luke Harper, Kane, and Seth Rollins. And he just took a pounding, and he just kept, he took out like Kane, he took out Luke, and then it was down to him and Seth, and that was just such a good moment for him. And unfortunately, they didn't capitalize on that. But like that was my idea for Ember. And then you put her in a mid-card feud until Royal Rumble. She wins the Royal Rumble, and then boom, she is a star. That was kind of my idea with her. Like, what about you? Like, what mid-card kind of thing would you like to see her do?
Now that you like said it, I think I like the idea of her doing kind of her against the world kind of ordeal. And I think the reason why is because I think that would fit her story, her personality of like, she was bullied as a kid. I'm sure she felt lonely. I'm sure she felt like she was having to battle all of that hate and all of those people that are coming at her, that it would be kind of prophetic for her to have a match where that's happening in the ring, where it's like, it's Ember Moon against, Sonya and Mandy and, like Liv or like those people. And it's really interesting to me that like we can't think about more things for her, because most of like my ideas and the ones that you even mentioned, they're really high cards. So that speaks volumes on like where she should be. Like, I don't think she should be mid card. To be fairly honest, like tweak a few things. Like she's not good on the mic, tweak that a little bit. She's not doing what you need her in the ring, tweak that a little bit. Cause God knows she'll do it. I just thinking about some of the feuds that I would be interested to see her in are with people that are like at that Becky level, or maybe at that Charlotte level, maybe at the Asuka level. Like it doesn't feel right for her to be in mid card. I can't think of something that I would like see her in and be like, whoa, mid card. Like, I think I want to say she fought Charlotte at one point. And I think that was when she moved up, and it was either her or someone. It was someone high up, and it's matches like that I feel like she would thrive in. You really won't get her best putting her against people that she has maybe virtually fought before. Yeah. Maybe put her in a faction. Give her a sidekick. Give her not necessarily a sidekick, but a partner. Could she? And it's like it's weird because like now Liv's back. She has her own angle. It's kind of disappointing because it was like she could be partner to someone. She could be partner with put her with Ember or something. Put her with Naomi. Like. Moon glow.
I like that.
Give it to me.
Yeah, exactly. A moon glow. I like that.
Right? And I think, and that's not even my idea. Someone on Twitter did it. At me who it was, like, because I don't want to take anyone's idea. But I heard it. I heard that, and I saw it. I'm like, that works. I think it works. I think seeing those two together, like, WWE obviously will put in the work for the people. It's just like how can we tweak it so that it works? But like, give her a partner like Naomi, or give a partner or put her with a guy or something, or like anything that will put her on the map in that way. I feel like she'll thrive. No,
Exactly.
I want to see more eclipses. Like, I want what's best for her. Honestly, like I know, like I want these 14 years of work to pay off, and it's like it's doing her a disservice for WWE to have her be content in Midcard. Like, if she comes back, I want her to thrive, and it's like I don't see there being an excuse for it, and I won't take anything less. Like, put her with someone if you don't believe that she's single material. Like, fine, just say that, and then put her with Naomi when she comes back. Make her have that mystery partner. Like, Naomi comes out and she's like, I'm not fucking alone. Guess who I got? And it's Ember. I would pop my tits off. Like, that would be so cool to me. And it's like, you're putting her with someone high up on the card, and it's like, now maybe people are gonna take her seriously and see. But you know, you gotta appeal to the man upstairs, and the man upstairs is Vince. And you mentioned it before, like, does he really like her? And it's like, if it's up to, and it's just gonna be a hot take, but it's like, if he doesn't like her, and that's the basis on how far you go in the company, she should leave. Go somewhere that really is you're gonna do something and make the difference in the women's division, because you being injured over a 24/7 title, you sitting and catering it's like not acceptable, at least to me. And it's like, I know she's not the only person that has, you know, that's dealing with that. But it's obvious she is very vocal about how she's been treated her career so far. She's got to a point where she'll talk about, you know, she's talking about how, like, the last Rumble, or it was something in NXT, she was saying that, like, you know, there are people, she wasn't going to mention any names, but they weren't doing the work. They weren't, you know, and it's like, she knows your secrets. I don't know.
Yeah, but like, kind of like, speaking of what you were just saying, because I wanted to end the episode with us kind of talking about like what we want to see with her, like, in the future when she comes back. Like, and you mentioned like the whole 14-year thing. Like, you want this 14 years to pay off. I think they should make that into a storyline, kind of what they did with like Kofi, with like the whole he's been a part of the company for 11 years and he's been overlooked. Do something like that with Ember, like, kind of like make a storyline where, you know, she hasn't been featured, maybe based off of looks or something like that, and they kind of build it into something and maybe make it like a good like WrestleMania moment. That's what I want, because to me, like, I like when they make something like that's going on in real life into a storyline. It makes this, because we're adults, we know that this is all scripted and this is just someone writing the story. But when it's actually real stuff that they insert into it, it makes it feel more real. It gives me personally that feeling that I had when I was a kid, when I thought everything was real, because you know it's real. Like, you know, I hate, like, I hate like to bring this up, but like when Charlotte Flair and Paige were feuding, Paige brought up, you know, Charlotte's brother who had passed away. That was real. Like, that was her going after Charlotte and bringing up something personal. That's something that really happened. And it's like, why don't they bring up this storyline with Ember? Why don't they make it into something and really build it up? Because people will get behind that. People, it's still like a hot thing. We love the underdogs. You know, remember Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, like, even like Becky Lynch, like, it was, you know, the whole struggle to get to the top, like, that's the best part. I mean, usually it kind of sucks afterwards. After they win the title, it kind of cools down a little bit, but it's just like, that would make her such a big star. Just because a lot of, like, a lot of people can relate to that, because a lot of people, you know, because like you said, like, Ember Moon isn't really known to be the best looking, even though, like, I think she's really beautiful, but like, I've heard it from plenty of people. Like, I'll say, oh, Ember Moon's my favorite wrestler. I get this response all the time. She's not that good looking. Why? And it's like, and that's like kind of like my point. Like, a lot of people don't find her good looking, so a lot of people relate to that. A lot of people feel like, hey, like, this is me. Like, I've been turned down and I've been looked down on because of my looks, my size, my height, all that. Because she's also short. I think she's like 5'2".
Yeah, she's my height.
Yeah, you don't realize that on TV, but yeah, she's really short. Like even like Zelina Vega, I didn't know she was 4'11", and and then when I saw that, and then when I actually saw her at a live event, I was like, yeah, she actually is really tiny. Like, yeah, very tiny. But yeah, so I just think at the end of the day, they should just make that a storyline eventually. Like when she comes back, because they did that with Bailey years ago when she was in NXT, she got hurt, came back, and she did that storyline where she just started overcoming everything and she was taking down everyone, and then it led up to her match with Sasha, and she won at Takeover Brooklyn. So I want them to do something like that with Ember. So what about you? Like when Ember comes back, whenever that is, what do you want to see them do with her?
I think that she could capitalize on the obvious frustration of her being told that she was going to come back and it was going to be her moment, and then she gets injured, right? They could build a storyline of her being upset with the company, doing like a job shoot, and basically like how dare you guys made me chase after that stupid title and I injured myself, but now I'm back and I'm here to kick ass and take names. That feeds into that. I would like seeing her do that. It's very fiery. It's very like, I always love it, those angles about work and like how they're upset with WWE, and like it was the reason why I loved like CM Punk's pipe bomb, like favorite. And I know that's so cliche, but it's like I like the tea. I like it when people are like, I'm gonna voice my frustrations with the very thing that pays my bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's obviously frustrated. That's a real life event, to your point. Is something that she can use in a storyline, and like someone can come out and be like, oh well, you're not that pretty anyway, you're not gonna come be at the top, and I'm gonna fight you. If they're gonna go with that those storylines of like looks and attractiveness or whatever, fine, use it to your advantage. Like have her fight Mandy, or have her fight like Lacey or something. Like fight all of Vince's favorites and show that you are like, you're worth it, and I'm not gonna let me being injured, like all this time I was planning my big comeback, and people like that comeback thing, really, like they're down and out, but something clicked, and I'm ready to get back out there. I would love to see that happen for her when she does come back. I think that revenge storyline is definitely something that they can link to previous events of like the whole thing with Mandy Rose bullying her, and like definitely something that can be linked to that, and then it come back in full swing like when whenever her return ends up being. I would like to see her in a partnership of some sort. I personally think that if she was to make a return with Naomi, that would be so cool. Like bring them both out, but like kind of mesh their two styles together. She could, I guess Alexa's already with Nikki or whatever. So it's like I'm trying to think of like someone like she could fight. Either way, I think those are the two storylines. Honestly, I won't waste any more time with it, but like those are the two that I really could see happening, or in my brain, and it makes sense. And I would love to see it as a fan. I think a lot of people who are fans would love to see that. I want to see her accomplish something. As she's coming back, I know she can't do like the most craziest things in the world when you're recovered from an injury, but like it would be kind of cool to see her win at SummerSlam, break that streak of losing at those like higher traffic pay-per-views. Like maybe she wins Money in the Bank and this was her third go round. You build a storyline off of that, of like how she lost those two times, but she's not going to lose again. Have her win at SummerSlam because Bailey chose her. Have her fight Bailey. there's just a lot of things that you can use from her losses and from maybe the more unfortunate events in her life, because we all can relate to what has, we can relate to reality, and we see ourselves in the characters that they portray on TV. Everyone knows what it's like to, make that comeback. People love that. People love, you failed so many times at something and you finally get it right. Like, it's a great feeling, and you want to see someone that you support go through those same feelings as well. I think that will build. I think one of those things can build her moment, and she will have that match. I really hope that for her.
Yeah, me too. Like, I definitely want to see it turn into something, to be honest with you. I know you're talking about like the alliances and all. Like, you mentioned Alexa, and I know she's with Nikki Cross, but I mean, by the time Ember comes back, you don't know what's going to go on with that. But I would love to see her and Alexa together. They're best friends in real life, so I think they would have that Bailey and Sasha kind of chemistry. This is kind of a wild card. I doubt it would ever happen, but I would love to see Ember and Lacey Lane together, or Kaden Carter now she goes by. They both have very similar in-ring skills. They have similar looks. Like, I know, like, they do like the hood thing. I don't know. Has Kaden Carter been doing that with her entrance lately with the hood?
I think she did a few times. I think last night was the first time I remember seeing her in a minute. She did have a hood a couple of times. I've seen her in NXT last year, like kind of towards the end of the year, and it's very much a wink at Ember, which I think is cool. I did not think about the a Kaden alliance.
Yeah.
That would be kind of. I mean, that would be really sick. I guess. Just to be, I mean, that maybe brings up another point of like, would she go back to NXT like Finn Balor did?
They could do that. She fits more of their style and how they present, themselves. Because in NXT, it's definitely not about looks, or anything like that. Like, they have their style. It's more of the underground kind of thing. It has, because NXT has that one fan base, and that's hardcore fans. And that's one of the big issues I forgot to bring up too. WWE, like, their main roster, there's so many different fans that want so many different things. You have kids, you have adults, you have women, you have men, you have the casual fans, hardcore fans. They all want something different, and you can't give it to everyone at the same time. Like, there's a lot of people who love Roman Reigns, but guess what? There's a lot of people who hate Roman Reigns. So when you push him, you're gonna make a lot of people happy, and you're gonna piss off a lot of people. In NXT, you push the Undisputed Era, everyone's happy. I don't know anyone who doesn't like them, Same thing with like Bianca, like, who I don't hear anyone that hates her, or Finn Balor, like you just mentioned. Like, nobody hates Finn Balor. Like, it's a lot easier and simpler to do things with NXT because of it's just that core fan base, like your hardcore fans versus all these people, and that's why like a lot of fans seem to be satisfied, at least from what I've seen with AEW, because it's the hardcore fan base. You don't have little 6-year-old kids who really don't know much about wrestling watching AEW. It's hardcore fans, people who were fans of Bullet Club and New Japan and all that kind of stuff. Like, so that's part of the issue with WWE, not just with Embers, with everyone. Like, it's hard to really focus and really book some of those wrestlers based off of just because they may not be as in demand, or because there's so many fans who want other things, and it's just really hard. And I know it's probably stressful for WWE too, because it's like they change so much based off of what's hot now, what's not hot. Wrestlers can get hot overnight. Like, we've seen it too. Like, it could be that match, it could be a tweet they post. I've seen that happen numerous times where a wrestler posts a tweet, everyone's talking about them.
Everyone's talking about it. It's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, to your point, you are here today, you're gone tomorrow, but you also can make that snap back real quick in the same amount of time. So again, does WWE have pull over that? Yes. Can they make certain decisions that could be more into the voice of the people and mirror that? Yes. We're not in WWE, so we can't say for sure what their plans are, what they'll have for Ember Moon. Maybe they won't have anything for her. But I can't I can't fall behind that reasoning of like just wait it out. They have long-term plans because they don't. Hell in a Cell 2019 proved that they don't have a long-term plan, and they really kind of fire off their decisions based on what's happening in the now. They moved NXT to Wednesday, they without really I don't know if they had a plan really to move forward other than AEW's coming to TV, we got to make a decision. People want Liv back, we need to make a decision. Like, it's very much like things are happening right now. We have to make something happen right now because, to your point, yes, things happen overnight, but I don't think you should necessarily make a quick snap decision just because someone's angry right now, just because someone doesn't like what you have on TV right now. Like, it's that weird balance, and I know it's frustrating for them. Like, to your point, I know it's frustrating but at the same time, it's like views really don't say much. You can have a bunch of views and it still be bad. But how do we tell a company to listen to their folks?
Exactly, we really
when
can't.
Views is what is important.
I mean, in my opinion, it's they've gotten better with listening to the fans and with the fans voicing their opinion. For a while they were not. Things were bad, but like lately, like it seems like when the fans want something, they're kind of getting it. I mean, we got it with Becky, we got it with Kofi. Right. I know the Revival fans wanted them to do something for a while, and they're doing it. But there's still, like a lot of fans want it with Sasha. Hopefully that happens. We've been wanting Sasha to get a proper title run for a very long time. So it's like they're slowly getting better. I think as Triple H gets more, control, I think Vince is slowly giving him more control. So we're kind of seeing things slowly change within the last few years. So
yeah, it's definitely some turns in the right direction because we got competition. They have competition now, and stop. Get off the cord. My cat is on the cord. Stop. They have competition now, so I think they can no longer kind of play fast and loose and just be like
they have to take more risks now.
Right, and they have to take more risks, and they have to you have to realize that you have a huge roster, and people want to do things. That's why you hired them. Like you have people like Ember, who kind of lost in the shuffle, and you run the risk of having Sasha kind of almost be in that same predicament. It's like she left and was very much like, I don't know if this is for me, and then she comes back and like they put her on TV, she just loses, and I'm just like, then you have her character kind of do this thank you Vince thing, and I'm like, it's kind of weird to me. Like, it is. I don't know. It's like they do these weird things with these characters that no one wants. Like no one in a million years thought that Liv was gonna come out and be Lana's lover. No one in a million years. And it's like, it's clear that it's like it's not about the fans. Kind of like this is Vince's product. He wants to see what's funny on TV, and this is what's funny to him.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about like he has a certain type of humor, and what he thinks is funny, he thinks is gold. And like I will give WWE credit for at least taking a risk and trying something different that no one would expect with Liv, but nobody wanted that. It's kind of thinking like, I know they're taking a risk and all, and that's cool, but did you really think that was going to get over? I mean, I think there's going to be more to the storyline. Hopefully they kind of evolve, Liv's character in this storyline. Because like I remember in the New Day when they first formed, they were like preachers or something like that. They were not doing the pancakes and the bootios and all that. They evolved into what they are. Maybe that will happen with Liv. Right. Maybe Ember will come back and evolve her character. I mean, I've heard people say it all the time on social media. She should have like a Finn Balor kind of thing where she's Ember Moon, but if someone like pushes her to that limit, she flips the switch and she turns into like the war goddess, and she has like a different kind of mood, and she gets a little bit more aggressive in the ring, stuff like that. Because like Finn Balor, when he's the demon, he doesn't lose. they should kind
We
of
don't
do
have a
something.
woman like that.
Yeah, I would love to see
We have,
Ember, the perfect person to do it with.
yeah, we have, we have the Bray character. I love the Bray character. I love the Finn character. And Demon and Finn and Bray and the Fiend, like I 100% stand. But like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have a woman that does that. And
No.
like that could definitely be a gimmick that could be like, she was that first female that started that for her division. She does have that alter ego, and I know people wanted that would live, but now that you mentioned Ember, I'm like, that's a great thing to come back to, because that's basically what restarted Bray's career. Was pretty much dead until like we kept getting all these really weird sequences, and then it was like we finally realized it was Bray, and we were like, okay, now we're interested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that idea. 100.
Yeah, I'm hoping they roll with it. I mean, everyone I've mentioned it to loves it.
I do.
Just hopefully, like, because I've been like I really hope that she, sees this episode and kind of hears this. Like, that would be awesome, so she can get the idea and she can present it to WWE.
Yeah.
That's like that's probably like the best way. I mean, maybe that's something she's thought of, and maybe she has presented it. I mean, we don't really know. Like you said, we don't work for WWE. We don't know what is done and said behind the scenes, but I think that's a really good idea if they really want to invest, in her. Why not do something different with her? Because that's what you have to do with wrestlers. They gotta evolve. If they don't evolve, they get stale. Chris Jericho is proof. He's evolved so many times throughout his career, and it's gold. Bray Wyatt has evolved. He wasn't the Fiend, a year ago. Matt Hardy evolved. Even Sasha Banks has been evolving. She changes her hair. She's kind of changes a little bit about her character and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's what you need to do, and just hopefully they do something like that with Ember, to be honest with you.
I agree.
So, yeah. So I think that wraps up everything. I think we definitely touched bases on, a lot of different Ember Moon moments, and we both vented our frustration about, like, her push, and acknowledged the struggle that she's had to go through to get to where she's at, and just hopefully, like you mentioned, hopefully it pays off. She's hard worker, very passionate about the business, and she grew up a fan, so it's like, this would be a really good moment. Like we saw when she won that NXT Women's Championship, she bawling and crying. Like, that shows how much it meant to her. Imagine winning like a big WrestleMania match for the title. Like, I can just only imagine what kind of, expression she'll show.
Yeah, I really hope that happens for her. I think she 100% deserves it. And, again, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, years of like just being a fan and actually putting in the work. She has her dojo. Like,
yeah, I've seen that.
Obviously, she is committed to this. This is her life, and this is what she wants to do. I think the least WWE can do is really give her a shot. Like, literally make the time and make the effort.
Well, we just have to cross our fingers and just hope it happens. I think it will. I tend to be very positive, so I'm just going to assume that it's going to happen eventually. We're going to get some kind of payoff, whether it's a few months, a year or two, I don't know. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but we'll just have to see.
Well, we'll pop like hell when she comes back on TV. I know that much.
And hopefully I don't miss it, because I've been kind of hit or miss with me being able to watch Raw because of work. So just hopefully, if I missed the Big Show's return, I was a little bit bummed out about that.
Oh yeah. Well, if she comes back and you're not available, I will tweet you.
Yeah, you and a whole bunch of other people, I'm sure, because everyone knows I love Ember Moon. But yeah, hopefully I don't miss it whenever it happens. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely fun chatting with you, Bree. I mean, thank you so much for joining us today on No Face Wrestling.
I'm glad to join you and the O-Face fam. It was great talking to you. It's good to just vent and get, stuff out. Definitely about someone like Ember. I mean, obviously we had a lot to say. I'm sure we had a lot that, we didn't even scratch the surface of, but we covered a lot. And, I hope if people want me back, we'll see. We'll come back. Try.
Heck yeah. I mean, I always leave the door open for people to return on episodes. My one friend, Stephanie, she's part of the O-Face team now, but she's guested on the show like 6 times.
Nice.
So yeah, I definitely leave the door open. Any ideas, we just go for it. I mean, it's all about just talking wrestling and having fun, honestly.
All right.
All
I
right.
appreciate you having me, and you guys can follow me on Twitter. And I wish I had like good editing skills. I could just like put my name on it.
Well, I'll definitely tag you in the post that everyone will know to follow you on Twitter. And yeah, I mean, thank you all for listening so much. I mean, it's always fun talking about Ember. I mean, that's why I picked Bree. I know she's a really big Ember fan, so am I. I had to have someone on the episode who's passionate about Ember, just like myself, just so we can really just geek out about her and all that. So thank you all again for tuning in to O-Face Wrestling, and we will see you next week.
Thank you guys.
Bye.